What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be taking a look at a title called Dustgrave. If you don't know what Dustgrave is, it's one of those games that's trying to be somewhere in between Battle Brothers and Mountain Blade Warband. That is to say, this is a game about a small squad of characters, so you're not going to have a full-on custom army like you would in Warband, but you do have a small Battle Brothers squad that can then be used to do Bannerlord or Warband type things. That is to say, you can take part in geopolitics. There's different factions that are fighting over the map and kind of like raiding each other and stealing each other's stuff. Every settlement has various things that need to be satisfied, like food, water, medicine, and money in order to keep on functioning with an economy that's somewhat dynamic. A little bit of like an A-Life thing going on, I guess. We checked this game out almost exactly a year ago with its first inaugural early access, and now a year on down the line, I think the game has had 2 major updates and a big old handful of hotfixes, so I figured it was time for us to dive back on in, take a look at the game, and see if it's something that you wanted to add to your wish list, or if it looks interesting to you. If after watching this, you did indeed want to get the game for yourself, the early access is available down below in the description, just like it always is. Then on top of that, just in case you need a little bit more me in your life, there's a whole bunch of Nerdcastle links down there too that are hot and ready to be clicked. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive on into the game. I've gotten about 2.5 hours into a run as of right now. I think I'm ready to give my first impressions on the current build, so let's get after it. So really, the storyline of this game, it's actually a really hard setting to explain to people. Actually, not really. I guess I've got it locked on in. I practiced this before the video. What I would describe this game as is if you took something like Battle Brothers and you put it on the Mongol steppe, and also there's a zombie apocalypse. That's sort of the premise for this game. There's been a civil war. A million different factions are trying to take over the world. You can see them all listed over here in the factions info. All of these guys are going to be doing very similar stuff to what Lords would do in Mountain Blade Bannerlord. They're going to expand their domains. They're going to attack each other. They're going to beat up each other's hamlets. They're going to raid. All that kind of stuff, and if you become good enough friends with them via doing quests and things of that nature, you can join their faction and you can get in on the fun. The game does have a very sort of Mongol-inspired art style, except for the plate mail. The plate mail is like Western European, but everybody else has kind of like a Mongol thing going on. Maybe I'm just saying that because I recently rewatched Marco Polo, RIP, but that's exactly where we're at right now. In this game, you were part of a caravan guard that was wiped out. Everyone that was in charge of you or friends with you or vouching for you is now dead, and so you have to go back out into the world, restart your mercenary company, and make a name for yourself while piling up loads and loads and loads of money. So for right now, my party comprises of 3 people. I've got, I actually don't even know my guys' names. I think my character's name is Splattercat. I am a Lancer. My entire job is to deal devastating damage, but if I'm ever struck by the enemy, it tends to not go very well for me, and I tend to get hurt very, very badly. This guy's name is like Bahaster or Ganzorig. Sorry, I was way off right there. His name is Ganzorig. He is obviously my tank. His entire job is to stand in front of the enemy and get punched in the face repeatedly until he gets puffy. And then I got lucky a little while ago and I recruited Bold. Bold is my healer. That's her entire job, is just to use green twinkle magic that makes everybody's boo-boos feel a little bit less painful. Where I'm at in the game right now, I'm kind of just flowing around taking jobs. That's been the last 2 hours. Sum total is just taking jobs, trying to get some kind of finances flowing so that I can upgrade my characters and get new gear. This guy right here has a quest for us, so I figure, wait, what? So for right now, I need to get the quest from this guy, but one big problem this game has is that trespassing areas aren't really indicated to the player in any way. There's no status effect that pops up, so I need this guy to come out to like a public area so that I can get his job. Traveler, I've got a job for you if you're interested. All right, what's the job? We got a problem with Infested. I'm afraid they're gonna cause trouble. They've been seen roaming the whole region, and we need to put them down before things escalate. Keep hitting them until they stop moving. That's it. That's the kind of job that intellectually I'm probably suited for, just bashing things over the head, so I will take it. As I mentioned, there's a zombie apocalypse going on. There's kind of like this unlabeled faction, the Infested, which are zombies, Mongol zombies, that are cruising around taking over villages, wiping everything out and consuming everything with impunity. You are frequently going to go up against them and fight them. Almost every single city that I've been in so far has had a problem with Infested. I don't know exactly how they factor into the overall overall aliveness of the world, like whether they have an AI dictating what they take over, or whether what I've noticed is sometimes when wars happen in between factions, they'll wipe out a village and the village will become abandoned when it's tagged on the world map. And it seems like the zombies move in after that, so I don't know if they just like fill in the gaps of the chaos that exists in this game world, but either way, we gotta keep stabbing them until they stop moving. We've also got Ganbatar over here. What kind of job do you have? All right, what can I help you with? Some of our men have gone missing, and I'm starting to think the infested may have slaughtered them. We sent them on a scouting mission, but they never got back. You need to find them dead or alive, and we need to know what happened to them. All right, well, I'll try that out. Missions do have, like, weird little branch points inside of them. Most of them are pretty simple affairs, a la Battle Brothers, just, like, go out and kill a thing and then come back and report to me. Go back and recover a thing and then report to me. However, the game does not have the flavorful writing that Battle Brothers has always had. That was one of those things that Overhype always really excelled at, but sometimes in the middle of missions you'll have opportunities to resolve things diplomatically or to like talk your way through it and actually get your reward without having to do any combat. Sometimes you can like betray the people that you work for, the holding in, it's been taken over. I mean, this is a good opportunity for loot. This is like a random location right here, so it works almost exactly like Mount & Blade Warband, where there are centralized cities, and then cities have holdings that are attached to them, and each of the cities and holdings kind of contribute to each other's financial success, whether or not they have enough food. When you get trash loot and stuff, it'll all be labeled as either like food, goods, crafting gear, stuff like that, and if you sell it to locations that have a shortage, it seems like you get paid more. But I do kind of want to check out this objective that has nothing to do with any of the quests that we're currently working on. It's possible that we might be in way over our heads if we come here, but the good news is I can just save scum if this goes poorly. I don't see anything hostile just yet. It looks like mostly this location's just abandoned, but I've got a feeling. Can I see through the windows? I can see through the windows. Okay, well, let's check the well. It doesn't look like there's any bad guys around, but that doesn't mean there won't be bad guys at some point. I don't know what my character just collected from right there. I don't think he collected anything. I'm guessing the well is one of those things that in early access has not been implemented yet. In this game, you do not really have to worry about any kind of like resource management or whatnot. Oh, nice. There's a jar inside of there. I doubt a jar is going to pull down fat profits, but it's something at least for my time stopping on in here. But as I was saying, resource management, not going to be a huge part of this game in my experience. You don't really have food. You don't really have payroll or anything else that you've got to deal with while you're out on the road. And so external pressures on the player are virtually non-existent in this game. It should be pretty easy to bounce back if you go through a financial rough time. Geez, this place, it's cleaned out. Whoever raided it took everything, man. They took everything and the blankets and the kitchen sink. All right, well, let's just go do a mission. It looks like the camp that we were looking for is over on this side. So let's stop on in here and just sort of see how dangerous this location's going to be. It's sort of hard to tell until you actually get into it. The missions do seem a little bit spiky in difficulty. So it looks like we do have a whole bunch of infected wandering around. If we can pick off this one on the outer edge, it'll probably buy us some time. I don't know how fast the other ones are going to notice that I'm beating up on their buddy, but combat in this game is AP turn-based, so if you've ever played XCOM, specifically new XCOM, it functions like that. You have 2 action points. They can be used for whatever, and as a benefit, they can be used for whatever in any order. You can attack, then you can move, you can attack, you can double move. Whatever you want to do, you can do it inside of here. I do like that, but there's another system nested on top of it that was implemented in the game's most recent update that's called determination. So everybody has a mana bar now. That's their determination, and determination is spent on red abilities, which line up, so I haven't figured out exactly how this whole system works in the last 2 hours, but essentially, from what I can tell, you kind of get a template of an ability in a skill tree, and then that skill is modified by what weapon you're wielding. It's most apparent when you're playing casters, but in the case of my main Lancer right now, he's got a thing called Violent Strike. It's going to allow him to hit a lot harder than he normally would, with a very high critical chance modifier and a lot of penetration. So we got a grazing hit right there. That brings us up to like different types of hits that you can get. When you mouse over an enemy, it's going to give you a preview of everything that can possibly happen when you go to smack this guy. So we've got a 50% chance for a full damage hit that's going to deal between 78 and 214 damage. We've got a 49% chance to graze, which is going to cut whatever damage we get from that greater pool in half. And then we have a 1% chance to crit. Right there, we managed to drop that zombie. I'm going to end my turn right here. Are the zombies aware of us? They are definitely aware of us. Okay, so zombies, they tend to swarm you really, really badly. And because this game has a flanking system where any character that has kind of like too many enemies on them ends up flanked, which means you take a lot more damage than you normally would, I'm going to kind of rearrange my guys into lines to bait attacks towards the people that I think are going to get smacked here. And then I'm going to put my healer all the way in the back. Now, if he's got any APs left, I want him to use Bastion. That's going to give him a status effect. It's called Armor. It's going to reduce the first hit that he takes by 50%, and on top of that, it regenerates a little bit of HP whenever you use it. He's not really going to be doing much else except for holding the line, so he is now officially flanked. We need to clear that flank, and so I'm going to get to work stabbing this guy. We got a 100 damage critical right there, right on the opening, which is good, and then we got a 134 damage critical on that one too, which is really, really nice. I could run Fortify. That's going to give him a little bit of a heal, but he doesn't really need it right now. He could also go with a strong slash that'll hit all of those guys, but it's going to use up all of his AP, and I feel like I need to clear this flank first and foremost, so let's swing away over on this side. I am going to shoot... Actually, I can't really, because she has a beam that travels through enemies. I don't know. I do need... Arcane Dart would work. Do that. There we go. So that one's dead right there. He's soaking hits. He's now flanked again, which is unfortunate. But it's okay. We have a healer. I'm going to use some of my determination. All these guys are 315. All right, so 134 damage right there. And then 111 damage right there, which is really nice. He took a pretty good smack. So I'm going to have him fortify. And then I'm going to have him hit that guy right there for the 43 damage. On this side, I would like Healing Light to go out on some people. So I'm going to cancel that. And if I can get into a position where I can heal everybody, it doesn't look like I can. So I'm just going to cast a nuclear heal on him just to keep him up. Because if people get knocked down in combat in this game, it's pretty bad. Oh, he's got like 100 stacks of poison on him. That's really the issue that you run into with zombies, is that they have a lot of poison stacking capability, and I haven't quite figured out a way to clear that poison yet in an effective way, and so we're just kind of like making this work for right now. You fortify, and then you fortify again. Just get as much HP back as you possibly can. You... drop a nuclear bomb heal on him. Hopefully it keeps him up. It did not keep him up, which puts us in kind of a precarious position. Who was wounded over here? You. All right, let's keep that going. A 246 damage crit that may very well have saved us right at the outset of the fight right now. Is he going to be able to stay up until next turn? With the poisons they're going to stack on him? I don't know. So he's got 5 stacks of poison. That should be 50 damage, I think, before the enemy goes out. We'll go with an Empowered Strike right there for 206 damage, and then we'll go for a big heal right there. Hopefully it's enough to keep him up into the next turn. It's going to depend how the poison stacks up. And then we'll finish that one off right there, and that's going to be our fight. However, we have multiple wounded people right now. You do accumulate wounds in this game whenever you get knocked down, just like you do in Battle Brothers. However, unlike Battle Brothers, you don't die when you get knocked down, which is a nice change. It's never nice to roll the dice on a character that you end up really, really liking along the way. And they've got a reinforced Kaftan. Okay. Well, that's one quest down, but unfortunately, what wounds did we pick up here? So let's go to everybody's attributes real fast. So we have internal trauma over here. So we've got internal bleeding on Ganzorig, which is not great. Anytime you go to take a leak and it turns up being cherry Kool-Aid, that's never a good thing. And then she's got a deep wound that's only going to be up for one more day. That's from a pre-existing fight. Everybody does have a level up right now. I didn't get that from this fight. As far as I can tell, I haven't been monitoring it super closely, but I don't think that you get XP just for taking battles. Like, I think, let me see here. I think you only get XP for quests, but I haven't been looking at my meter right now, and there's nothing on the screen over here that lets you watch it. I would recommend putting a yellow bar for leveling up on the right side of each character's portrait, maybe. That would help out with figuring out whether or not I'm getting XP from every single fight, but it's one of those things that I haven't really tracked. We finally found you. You will regret ever messing with us. Wait, who are you guys? I don't even know who these dudes are. Oh no, dude. Are they just like a faction that wants to beat me to death? I think they might be, and we're pretty wounded right now. Yeah, I wasn't planning on taking a secondary fight right here. So let's just back up real fast and figure out what comes next. Let's go ahead and just shield everybody if we possibly can. That way less damage is going to be incoming, but as wounded as we are, I'm a little bit worried about this fight. End the turn and let them come to us. They only have one archer, so I'm pretty sure they're going to waste most of their turn moving. They are indeed. This game does have a problem with the conga line of death. If you don't know what the conga line of death is, so basically in this game, if you're on opposite sides or you're on adjacent sides to somebody, you count as being flanked. That means that what'll typically happen in this game is one enemy will run up onto your character, then you'll put your guy behind him, then they'll put a guy behind him. This is one of those things that, like D&D, it took them a while to figure out the secret sauce of how to fix that, but this lady right here has a two-hander. Let's go ahead and stab her up. I'm trying to go in hard on this first turn, so I don't mind blowing most of my resources right now. If I have to, 164 damage crit right there from the man of the hour. Let's go. We're going to open up with an arcane dart on this guy just to limit the amount of damage they can deal. 32 damage graze out right there. He's got 58 damage on him. So let's focus on that guy. 206 damage. Hell yeah. Okay, this is actually going pretty well. I think we may just get an extra paycheck from this. Let's flank that guy. And we'll put as much flanking damage on him as we possibly can. I'm going to throw out a big giant heal on my Lancer. There we go. Big giant heal is on my Lancer. However, they are focus firing him. So the enemy is not without AI here. That was one of the things that I guess in the last patch they ended up adjusting, is that the AI has gotten smarter, I suppose. And they've also mentioned, like they've said inside the actual release for the most recent overhaul update, that every faction fights differently now too based on their strengths and weaknesses. I don't know how true that is, but we need to move her up to right here. And now that she's moved up, everybody's actually in reasonably decent health. So I would say Power Surge right there. Yeah, 12 damage isn't much, but it's something. Okay, I can live with that. Let's just put some flanking damage on this dude. There we go, and they're down. I think this is a faction that's, like, super hostile with me, the Vultures. So I think they're sending hit squads after me to, like, eliminate me because most of my quests have been against them. Don't worry about it too much. I don't actually know if they're a serious faction that you can join. It seems like there's been a couple of options inside of quests when trying to talk my way through conflict where you can side with the Vultures and just become a raider that's against all other factions, stealing and pillaging and destroying. But for right now, I've taken almost every single anti-bandit quest, and so they are not big fans of me. This would be a really good time to check and see if I got XP for that fight. I did, actually, so you get like a tiny amount of XP from fighting, but the lion's share of the XP that you're going to get is going to come from turning in the quest itself. We've got to level up for right now. Every time you level up, you're going to get a new talent. This comes from a giant list, just like in something like Fallout. It'll allow you to specialize in certain weapons. It'll allow you to take different masteries. They come in different categories, so this is not the only tree that you get to pick from. It seems like there's 2 or 3 trees that are about this large, and every level is pre-designated for your class. What things come up each time you level up on which level. And so for right now, I would like to specialize my Lancer. Let's specialize him in spears. So while using polearms, opportunity attacks made by the character get more damage and more accuracy. Okay, that's not going to be super useful. What does it do by comparison to like medium and heavy armor? When you wear a medium armor, you get 2 evasion and 5 protection. That's pretty good. I'll go ahead and take that because AI doesn't really seem to eat opportunity attacks altogether that often. They seem to really avoid it. I've seen them take opportunity attacks like once or twice, but in general, they try to avoid it. For this guy, let's see, he's got a sword right now. Sword specialization gives him more accuracy for every consecutive attack on the same character. There's also a talent that does that too in a different tree that I think he has. So you could actually get like a stacking 15% bonus if you played around with those. We could specialize him in shields because he is our tank. That'll protect him from ranged attacks decently well. But what does the heavy armor proficiency do? 5 evasion from any attack that would apply a negative status effect. I'll go with that because a lot of attacks in this game do seem to have kind of a little rider on them that applies weakness or like shattered armor or like hamstrung or something else like that. It may end up becoming kind of useful. And then from there, every time you level up, you get a skill point. So every single character in this game has a class. You will decide that when you recruit them. They are a blank slate when you recruit them, and you get to apply every single thing that they would have retroactively. They will match the level of the characters that you currently have in your main party whenever you pick up new guys. And so that's a really nice feature because it allows you to quickly customize a guy just to fit in with the rest of the squad. It's not really hardcore, but it does smooth out the process. For right now, though, she does have an ability that reduces damage taken by enemies that I can cast on teammates. I think that's a good idea because right now she's kind of a one-trick pony. Like I said, your abilities, they evolve based on what weapon you have equipped. Every weapon has a basic attack, an empowered attack, and a shout. And you have to read the descriptions on these to see what it's going to affect. So for example, her last weapon was a book, and it made this into an AoE that gives everybody shield and speed. However, with her new item that she's equipped with right now, it's like a wand or like an artifact or something like that. It converted this into just a big giant heal, essentially. And you've got to kind of like swap out weapons and go into turn-based mode while you're wandering around the world to figure out how your abilities are evolving. For my tank, he does have negate threat, which reduces the damage of the next attack coming in by 50%. I think that's a really good idea because damage can get really stacky and nasty in this game. And then in the case of my character, I don't know what I want to do with him. We could get bold charge, so I'll be rooted once I do it, but I get way more accuracy and then I get extra damage for 2 strikes after that, which would be good. We can get assert dominance. That'll apply weakness charges on the enemy, which make me hit harder. That plays into his damage dealing capability as a lancer, so I'm going to go ahead and take that. And now we can leave the area, and we've actually got to track down another quest. But first, I've got to make like a little rough edit right here because I got to go back to an inn and I got to rest for a couple days until we feel better. There's not really any way to rest on the world map. That's one of those features that I'm hoping they'll add to this game where you can like pitch a camp over here and you can spend money and resources to upgrade all of the different buildings and all the different tents, you know, extra storage for more guys that you can swap out, stuff like that so that when you have wounded, you can keep on trucking and stay in the action. But for now, I've just got to like camp out inside of an inn for a couple of days. Fresh out of the inn, we've got everything healed at the moment. His internal bleeding turned into some kind of like brain problem, and so I've been sitting over here for a minute, but it's all over now. He's as good as new, maybe slightly less intelligent than the last time. I've noticed that he's having trouble speaking different vowels and consonants, but I'm hoping that that just goes away with time. There's a lot of slurring happening right now in the party. But it's time for us to go back and finish off that other quest so that we can get ourselves double paid when we get back to town. Towns in this game are distinct. They do reflect the culture that they are a part of. There seems to be kind of like an Imperial Chinese faction. There seems to be a Golden Horde faction. There seems to be kind of just like a loose Step Raider sort of nomadic faction. And then from there, there's a bunch of other like minor factions that fill in the gaps that have temples and stuff like that that are scattered throughout the world. Haven't played around with it too much. Like, I've mostly been I've been taking every job that comes my way without favoring anybody, and so my knowledge about the game world is not entirely too fleshed out. Okay, so I checked out this quest right here, and we can't handle it. We gotta fight like 15 zombies at the same time, and that's just not gonna happen with all the poison they stack on you. The poison in this game honestly needs to be nerfed pretty heavily. it's way too damaging. When I had 5 stacks of poison, the first time it happened, I was like, oh, so I'm going to take 5 damage every turn. No, 50 damage every single turn. And it stacks way, 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 way too easily. Like, really, every time somebody tries to apply poison, it should be making a toughness check or something else like that to see if you resist. But you don't seem to get any resistance in this game. So there's a lot of these weird little mechanics that are not fully fleshed out right now, or just have not been balanced and explored. On the plus side, we have 1 quest that we've completed, and there's no time limit on any of these quests, so once I level up a little bit, I think if I had a 4th guy, I might have been able to make it out of that fight with just 1 guy down or something else like that, but I haven't found my 4th guy yet. It's good to know that the infested now belong to the maggots. Your actions serve the queen's cause, and for that we are grateful. Here's your payment as agreed. Ooh, he gave me a ring. Nice. What does the ring do? 10 accuracy when attacking flanked enemies. I know exactly who I'm going to put that on. I'm going to put that on Ganzorig because he has a terrible ability to hit the enemy. He really sincerely does. He basically grazes every single turn, and it's just not advantageous. Let's go track down 1 more quest, and once I get that quest underway, I will talk about all of the things that I have seen in summation about this game, and I will give you my recommendations. But for now, we need to hit the road and see if there's anybody else that's hiring at the moment just to get us back up on the horse and making cash. This city over here is flourishing. I think that means they're going to have way better goods for sale while we're out here. We got swarmers. How many swarmers? Is it a lot? It's not a small amount. Okay, let's do what we always do. So these infested are pretty strong right here. The swarmer is the main threat, though. Let's pull back into a defensive position and just give ourselves a turn to figure out what it is that we want to do before this gets any worse. Yeah, let's just fall back and regroup real quick just to make sure that this is going to work out. So he's going to make it in 1 turn, and he's going to flank himself. The rest of them, though, we've got like 1 opening turn here where we can get something done. That's good. Let's get him with the heaviest strikes we possibly can, because we need to even out enemy numbers for right now. You, I would like you to bastion up. That's going to give a shield to everybody. And he can free move down to here, but he's going to be insta-flanked. I would say maybe move over to here to bait the flank, possibly. And then for you, do hardened skin. And then recharge everybody's determination. There we go. This may not work out very well, but I'm going to give it the old college try and hope for the best. Okay, so their play right now is to poison my Lancer. This guy's flanked, so I'm going to increase the damage that goes out against him as much as I can. How much does negate threat do? Enough. Oh, we didn't get the kill. Unfortunate. Okay, you do another battle shout to keep everybody's armor up, and then if you can help me out with that guy right there by just killing him real fast, I'd appreciate it. That would be possibly the best outcome. You move over to here and get him flanked. And now that he's flanked, we're just going to lay into him as hard as we can. Good. If I can move over to here, that would be optimal too. I'm going to negate damage on him. 167 damage crit. Very nice. Does anybody need healing right now? My Lancer does. So you heal the Lancer. This poison gets any worse, though. It's accumulating, so that's going to be not so great. Get him as hard as you can. 190 damage critical. Hell yeah. And then we need to close the gap with this guy as hard as we can because poison's going to get us before we can even get over there if we don't. So you get to right there. We got like terminal fart gas coming out of us from every direction. You just do like a little lightweight heal. you come in right here. And I think I know how I'm going to resolve this. Yeah, dude. Just heal everybody in a straight line that you possibly can. There we go. All right, and that's a free move right there. Let's get him with damage down, and then we'll just keep whittling on him. He just keeps escaping from me, so we've got to keep doing what we're doing here. You keep free moving over to here and just stay on him. Okay. You are going to move to right there and hopefully resolve this. There we go. The enemy's down and we didn't lose anybody. Gotta loot all my corpses, man. But this is Dustgrave. You guys know me, I'm always down for any type of Sandbox Battle Brothers style experience, and I think this game is actually targeting that niche. When it came out a year ago, it was a little bit unstable, it was light on content, and they've spent the last year completely rebuilding the vast majority of the foundational systems such as skills, cities, economics, the way that quests unfold, and whether you have multiple options and the way that you complete them to make them feel a little bit more rich and textured. I think that stuff all worked pretty well. There's still a fair amount of UI polishing that I think needs to go on through. I've spent like an inordinate amount of time just mousing over things, being like, what does that status effect mean? How does that work? I do think it should be a lot easier to recruit extra allies as well. I've been playing for a couple of hours, and I've only found one guy for hire so far, and I've just been popping in between cities doing missions and whatnot. That is to say, this is a much more polished, much more smooth version of the game that came out a year ago. It's firing on all cylinders now, and I think the foundation has been laid in place. If the game was in this state when it came out a year ago, I think it would have popped a little bit harder in early access. However, the warning here is that the game is still kind of content light. A lot of the things in it are just procedural quests, and you will get kind of the same quest back to back every now and again. Stuff like that. It's gonna run out of things to show you pretty quickly, but it is working much better than it was a year ago, which hopefully means that they've definitely got something now that they can build on top of, and they can get that content mill churning. At the moment, I don't really think there's a reason to play this game over playing Mount and Blade Warband or over playing Kenshi. It's not really a super fair comparison because those are both games that have been out forever. They benefit from thriving modding communities. Their 1.0s have been done for a long, long while. However, as a fan of these sorts of sandboxes, I'm willing to kind of wait and see what they do with it, because I do think they actually have a really compelling sort of setting with this game. How many times do you get to play as these Mongol-style guys running around, calling down the violence of the eternal blue sky on the enemy? That's pretty rad. And then how much more frequently do you see that setting with an ongoing zombie apocalypse? I think that's super interesting, and I'd like to see what they build on top of this. For now, you'd be better off going for something like Mount and Blade Warband, Mount and Blade Bannerlord, Kenshi, Battle Brothers, but that could now change now that they've actually polished out a lot of the bugs. They've got the game running smoothly, it doesn't crash, things are a lot more clear, they're easier to organize, the economy system is now functionally in place, which, by the way, I do very much like that the game pays attention to the things that you sell to towns. Like, if you sell them food, it fills up a little food meter that raises the amount of sustenance that that village has just as a population there. I don't think the systems really capitalize on that yet, but the fact that they have that implemented means that it will someday. Likewise, if you sell them trade goods, their trade rating goes up. And so give this one a little bit of time to cook, and hopefully with some nice content expansions, things being added on into it, some of these systems that are now fleshed out actually come to fruition and have content built on top of them. I think they could definitely have something interesting here for people that enjoy turn-based RPGs in a sandbox procedural world. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so that you don't have to. Today up on the chopping block, we were messing around with Dustgrave. Tomorrow we'll be messing around with something else. That's all I got for you, folks, and I'll see y'all later.